Greetings once again on the 2nd of, I wanted to say October, but it's just September. I feel like I've been here way too long. Well, I was a member of the Porsche Club of America. There's my card and number. I resigned in protest because the fellow who was president was extremely abusive. And I had had it with the way he was treating members. So I resigned as a type of protest, and this membership was good till February 28th of 2026. I resigned 2 years ago, and I paid for 3 years of membership. Gonna have to join again someday, but maybe not. We have problems with Porsche, and I want to go over these with you. I've owned 2 Porsches, 2 different cars, and I'd like to have another one, but after the last one, I don't know if I can do that to myself again. It was costing me on average $1,500 a month to maintain and keep that car on the road. And I wasn't keeping up. I was having to triage, do the important stuff, and then planning for the retirement checks to come in so I could get the next thing done that needed to be done. It was outrageously expensive, and it was very miserable to spend $1,500 a month to keep it on the road. That was way too much. But that's what happens when you buy a high-end automobile with all of these options on it. And my Porsche, that turbo, that had more options on it than any other car that they ever saw going into the shop. Even the engine, even the technicians had to look at it because it had 3 different brake reservoirs, cylinders for brake fluid in it. I don't even know where one of them is at. I only knew where 2 of them were. So it was a pretty damn high-end car. But I don't think I will buy myself another Porsche. Now, why is that? Well, first of all, Porsche made an announcement at one of the parades I went to that they decided they were going to stay exclusive. Well, at the time, I didn't know what exclusive meant, but now I know. You see, Porsche used to take care of the cars and their owners. It used to be that you could get any part that you needed for any Porsche made, and you could get it at a reasonable price. And today, it's not that way. Today, they've jacked the prices up way high. So if you have an older Porsche, which should be much more affordable, they charge you 2, 3, and 4 times what they used to charge for the parts. So here's a little secret. For the first 10 years of ownership, you can buy the parts at a reasonable price. An example was the cardan shaft, the drive shaft for my car. It was $750 originally. And the second drive shaft, my drive shaft was covered under warranty. It went on under 100,000 miles. Then one went on me in the middle of Indianapolis where it was thumping against the hump divide in the car. It was boom, boom, boom. I slowed way down, and I got across town to the Porsche dealership. It was $1,500, so they doubled the price of the part. And I don't even think at that point, let me think here. It was about 10 years. It was more than $1,500. But they gave it to me for $1,500 because they felt sorry for me because they knew these cars are rough on their owners. And they did a real good job, and they had me out of there in about 2.5 hours. I mean, it was like a pit stop. It was wonderful. They actually had the part in stock, and their head technician didn't have a job to do, so they put him on my car. It's always nice when you get the master technician in the shop. And Tom Moore Porsche in Indianapolis is very good. I can't recommend the roads in Indianapolis to drive on. They're horrible, chock full of potholes. It's not a good driving area at all, but the dealership there was one of the best. So today, some of these parts are no longer available. or you have to spend huge amounts of money to get them. My buddy needed to get a distributor cap. Distributor cap. 4 big ones. And that's not $400, that's 4 big ones. $4,000 for this thing. It's just too much money. But they know they pretty much have us over a barrel. And I'll tell you this, in the time I owned the car, half of the dealerships I went to were good for service, and half of them were like really bad. They damaged my car and damn near blew it up on me, especially Porsche of Boise, Idaho. If you live in Idaho, don't you dare drive a Porsche, because the mechanic there back then, Mike, he's probably no longer working. And there's probably new owners now, but it was not ever a good dealership before I got there. They had a terrible reputation. If you want good service, you have to drive over to Oregon, almost to the coast. You have to go to Bend, Oregon to get good service. That's what I had to do. And I really don't forgive Porsche very much for that kind of failure to support their customers. The mechanic in Boise did not drive the cars. He did not understand the cars. The mechanic in Bend, I didn't have to tell him there was anything wrong with my car. He told me, something's wrong with your car. He says, yeah, how do you know? He says, because I drive every car when it comes in. I test it to find out what's going on. He says, yeah, your car's not making the power it should. Hell, I drove all the way down from Alaska down to Boise. And I was only making about 300 horsepower. Car's good for 450. People wanted to race me. I was losing all the time. I don't race. I just don't do that. I got suckered in a couple of times, but the last time this guy in a Hellcat was pushing me off the road from the left lane, I decided, fine, man, you want to race? I slammed my foot on the brakes, man. I got much better brakes than he has, and he went, woo! He was a mile ahead of me before he realized what happened. And I signaled right, and I slowed down to 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. I slowed down to 55 miles an hour. I'm not going to get suckered into that, because to beat him, I'd have to be doing triple digits. He'd drive me into triple digits. Of course, the car had no problem doing that, but I like to abide by the laws, and I like to make sure things are safe. It was dark, and there was nobody else on the road, but there's no way in hell that I'm going to risk anything. No, the car was too precious. My life is too precious. The jackass driving that car, well, it was almost assault with his car. He was trying to push at me, threatening me. But 5 lanes to occupy, or at least 4 lanes plus the HOV lane, and then your breakdown lane. Jeez. Anyway, Porsche has screwed things up badly because they've jacked the prices up, and they've marketed cars in a very, I don't know what other word to use. This is a term I got from my supervisor when I was getting trained to become a psychologist. They proceeded in asshole-ish this way. That's all one can say, because today they won't let us order up the cars we want. The dealer's got to throw a premium out there, and even when we put a deposit on there, the dealers will take the car away from us and give it to a more important client. Man, Porsche, I'll never buy a new Porsche because of that. But let me get to the most important thing about Porsche today. They spy on you. They have more technology and more computers in their cars than anybody else. And all of that data is going right off the car. They don't even inform you about it. And it gets sold. They're making a ton of money off the data sales. And it's not like they give you an option. Hey, I don't want any of that electronic bullshit on my car. My privacy is number one. And since you can't assure my privacy, I'm not going to drive your car. Just the way it is. So that's the real problem with Porsche today. All of this other stuff, which we're going to get into, is a problem for sure. But The prices are outrageous, and it's not because of the tariffs. It's because of the greed, the Porsche greed. Also, they decided they were going to buy into the religion of global warming, of climate change, which is not a science at all. And they were going to shove that down our throats with their sustainability this, sustainability that. We're all sustainable, sustainable, sustainable. Hey, man, I don't want to ever hear the word sustainability out of anybody who's driving a Porsche or trying to sell a Porsche or working on a Porsche. We don't buy them for sustainability, which is also a curse. It's not true. There's almost as much oil on the planet as there is water. Well, not quite. But oil should be, our gas, our fuel should be cheaper. And our cars are so clean today. There's no problem with the exhaust from an internal combustion engine. No problem at all. And I'm tired of these politics. And you go on the Porsche website and it's like, well, I want to find a used car. They won't let me do it very well. I try to find the options that I want. There's some rare and unusual options I'm looking for. They don't even list those things on the website so that I might be able to find one at a dealership somewhere. Also, Porsche decided you can only buy from your dealership in your area. They were limiting it, so you couldn't go to another dealership and buy the car there. So when you get online, you can only search within 500 miles, unless you're from Alaska, but you still got to put it in every time, because when they know you're from Alaska, they go, oh, wherever in the USA the car is located, we'll let you know. But you can't do that from Arizona. You can't do that from Idaho. You have to go just to the local. So it's like they're hurting us. They're overly controlling us, which is really fucking insulting. And they think we're stupid, and a lot of us are. We just buy whatever they throw out there, even though the maintenance on it is ridiculously high. And I got to stand up and bring in this awning because the storm is hitting right now. So hold on with me, just so you can. That's my awning, and I don't want it to get ripped off by the wind. It was foretold that we had a 55% chance of rain. I'll just watch. No, I'm going to take it in. The awning itself was a $10,000 option when the rig was new. Probably cost 20 grand to buy one, and probably another 10 grand to put it on. Not good. It's big, has no supports under it. Can park a car under it, no problem. So, yeah, it's a good thing I'm bringing it in. It's really flopping around quite a bit. So Porsche has other problems. They decide they're going to build special models and charge you for it. They won't give us what we want to begin with. So if you want to go get a 911, forget about it, unless you're going to spend $130 or $150 for a base model. A base model. I mean, Porsche used to be able to produce a car so that somebody who's a working man could afford it. You know, somebody who's not a professional can buy one of their cars if they really want it. You can't do that anymore. You have to really damn near rob a bank to do it. Some of their cars are going for $500,000. And I'm sorry. Yeah, I know there's not many like that. For good reason. Anyway, you've got these special editions with special features that you can only get on those cars. And they jack the price way up. And Porsche won't listen to us. I liked having a turbo, but I don't want a turbo anymore. I want naturally aspirated. Most Porsche real drivers want naturally aspirated. And most drivers want a standard transmission with a clutch. They don't want a double clutch PDK that costs a boatload to maintain. They don't want that. They don't want the automatics, the slush box. Well, I do. I want it for several reasons. One is I don't want to have to pay to have a clutch done because it's pretty expensive to do that every other year. The other thing is that I need to be able to have towing capacity, And that only really comes with their automatic transmission. But remember, all of their systems spy upon you. Every time you jam on the brakes, it gets reported. Every time you're speeding, it gets reported. Everything you do on that car is reported to these brokers who sell your data. And of course, that means you don't know where it's going. That means you have no privacy. My God, I remember, yeah, I'm old enough. I remember when they were arguing about the passenger compartment of your car being an extension of your living room. That's right. They didn't have any rights to anything in your car way back then. They took them away gradually. Anyway, Porsche has problems. The other problem is that I'm looking for Macan and I'm looking for internal combustion engine. But every time I log on, they direct me and guide me and help me to the electric vehicles, which are way overpriced. There's no way I'm going to buy one of those. I'm not going to buy one of those things. I think they're just death traps. I say that very clearly and with purpose. I think if you get in an accident with one of those vehicles, it'll be just like a Tesla where you could get locked inside of it and you can't get out because it shuts down and the car burns and you're inside of it cooking. I do not trust the battery packs. I don't want to be sitting on a giant magnetic field. I don't think that's healthy for my body or my mind. And I really don't even want a hybrid. If you want a hybrid, that's fine, but I don't want one. And hybrids, when it comes to little cars like 911s, it makes no sense at all. And little cars like Cayman, it's idiotic. Nobody's going to buy it, which is good because Porsche needs to learn this lesson really good. Porsche needs to give us what we want. If a guy wants to buy a GT3, then by God, you better bring him to market, make it available, and not do this pissant shit you're doing to everybody around where they got to pay a huge whopping premium and you got the prices jacked way up. Sorry, there's just no getting around it. It used to be that the nice thing about a Porsche is a guy could afford one and he could keep it for life and get full support for it. And it would always be able to be refreshed and renewed and brought back to like new performance and sometimes better. And you could afford the parts. You could get the parts. But today, I wouldn't want one of those old cars right now that, there's not many parts for. They're going for so much ungodly money. So there the Germans are. They've deindustrialized themselves. They've neutered themselves. They've castrated themselves. And they want to castrate the rest of us. So we're supposed to drive electric vehicles that I've heard about the defectiveness in those cars. I don't want a Porsche electric vehicle. Not at all. Never going to be interested in it. They depreciate far too fast, and there just isn't enough backing by Porsche, and especially by their dealerships. That's with an S on the front of it. Dealerships. Steel. Yeah, they jack things up quite often. Now, don't get me wrong. I walk in, most of these places that I go to, they know me or have known me, and I usually can get some sort of reference so they know, hey, I may be an old guy, and you may have never seen me before, and I may be damn near penniless, but, I like my cars, and I like them in good shape. I want my brakes right up to spec. Heck, Porsche has shot themselves in both feet. The CEO who rammed that crap down our throats has resigned from heading Porsche, and he's gone back over to Volkswagen. But I think that Porsche needs to figure things out and fast. Otherwise, Porsche can disappear. That's right. I think there's enough part suppliers and other people out there, enough machine shops, that we can maintain these old cars without Porsche. Look, they're charging us as if we were using specialty machine shops here in the United States already for their parts. Don't get me wrong, the brakes, the rotors, man, those are made so wonderfully. The craftsmanship on that, I know they're expensive. I bought several sets, and I'll tell you, they're worth it because they saved my ass and my passengers many times. They saved lives. And I like having the power and the responsiveness because that saved lives too. I had a truck coming right at us. It was going to hit us right in the midships, and my hunting buddy, old friend, was in the passenger seat next to me. He says, the truck, and I just hit the damn pedal to the metal, floored it. And I didn't take my foot off it till we were like 5 miles down the road. It was a straightaway. And I looked in the rearview mirror at about 1.5 miles, and the guy didn't have his lights on when he was coming down the hill in the dark, in the morning hours. But he turned them on, and he was still sitting there. And I asked my friend, he's just sitting there in the middle of the road. Should we go back? And he says, no, no, no. You did the right choice, because when you hit the gas, this thing just took off. He would have hit us. You know, he would have hit us. No question about that. He says, but I can guarantee you he's messed his pants. And so don't go back. You know. And then one time a doggone school bus was on the left lane, and I'm right beside the school bus, and we're coming up to the intersection, and a Cadillac, SUV Cadillac, jumps across the front of the school bus, doesn't see me, and he's right in front of me. I was going to T-bone him. And I sat there, I sat there and crammed my foot down on the brakes. The car, all systems read my mind. It tightened right up. And I'm thinking, sure, I'm going to rock into this guy. I'm going to hit him no matter what. Man, I rammed those brakes down. And I stopped short of him. The car again tightened itself up. And it saved the day. And the guy in the Cadillac went to the parking lot across the street, and everybody around stopped. You know, they wanted to see what I was going to do. And I just drove through the intersection. I just went slowly on my way, not even at the speed limit, slightly lower. And all I could think of is, what are we going to talk about? Yeah, I've done stupid stuff before. We didn't touch. No harm, no foul. And I didn't need to chew his ass out. I'm pretty sure he was scared too. Hope he saw me, I don't know. But what I'm getting at is that Porsche is on the descent. I wouldn't bother with a new one. If you go to look at a new one, I would eagerly ask you for the written disclosure on the privacy matters. And if they don't show you the electronic side of it and the app side and the contract side of it, they're in violation of the contract as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to buy a car that spies on me. I'm not going to buy a car that can be shut off remotely and controlled by anybody else, like what happened to some of these other cats that had their cars steered into a tree because they had electronic steering on their cars. That happened to Andrew Breitbart. He had a nice Mercedes, and they steered that car of his right into a tree and killed him. You can do that with a new car. You can't do that with an old car. Porsche should go back to good old analog systems. I'm not buying the digital crap. Oh, don't get me wrong. I love seeing the readout, especially when it's triple digits on my speedometer in the middle of the dash. But I much preferred the analog display over the digital, because digital, you have to take a little bit too much time to read every doggone number. Analog, you just see where the darn needle is, and you know it instantly where it's at. Porsche has taken out the driving fun. I have another complaint about Porsche. They decided they were going to use staggered wheel sets, staggered tire sets on their cars. And so you end up with one size on the front and a different size in the back. And my contention has always been, what about a spare? They say, oh, most people get towed. They don't go across country. They don't drive from Alaska to the lower 48 or back. They don't need spares. Those aren't road cars. A road car has got a real spare tire in it. You know, all I can say is Porsche has made us, they've made us, we've had to cave in way too much to Porsche. It's time Porsche caved into us. Porsche needs to hear our demands are make the cars available, make a base entry-level 911. Standard transmissions should be more available. You shouldn't have to pay a special fee to get that. You know, PDK is nice, but it's not for everybody. I would also like to see different seatbelt arrangements. I'd like to be able to get a 4-point racing horse, or maybe even 5-point. You know, I'd like to see different seat options and different seatbelt options. Now, the cars are designed to save the passengers. They're wonderful when it comes to that. With all those airbags and all the systems in there, they are safe cars. There's no doubt about that. And they're usually very driving immersive. But these new cars are not so immersive. They're not nearly as nice as some of the old cars are. I'm just astounded when I get in one of the older cars, like my buddy has. Man, it's like being a little go-kart. That thing is like on rails. Which, if I want to get that experience, I can get it for much cheaper from someone else. I can get that experience. Well, Honda doesn't have a... Yeah, Toyota's got a good car. I can get it from there. The Toyota makes a couple of nice cars that I can get it from. I think Lexus is going to reintroduce a nice high-end sports car. And then I also think that Honda has had a history of incredible cars. And I think that I'd be happy with their last edition S2000. Ragtop for a change. I'm not really a ragtop man, but sounds like it might be nice. And of course, that thing drives like it's on rails, and the first version didn't have enough torque in the engine, and the later one had more torque. I'd like one of those. Yeah, I'd pay a premium to get one of those in good shape. I got a buddy in Florida on Facebook. If I want to get one, I'll let him know. I know he'll find one for me. And I'm let my Porsche technician know that I'm looking for one, but I can't afford one right now. And I thought I wanted a Macan. Then I found out they have all of the spy electronics on them. It's not for me. Is it for you? I think you need to tell the people at Porsche, don't you dare show me an EV. Don't you dare show me a hybrid. Not interested. Not interested at all. And not only that, if you're going to put your markup on it on top of the MSRP, not interested at all. I'll go buy used. I'll pay to have the damn thing refreshed. It's going to be a better car than you're making today. Oh yeah, sure, it won't be quite the wonder car. It won't have quite so much performance, but it won't spy on me. It will be an immersive driving experience. I mean, even though it won't have the ability to really go fast or to really stop really fast, it'll be adequate. I just want the mid-range. I want to feel like one with my vehicle. I want to feel in charge of it and in control of it. And I want a vehicle that will go a distance. I don't want to have to plug it in and worry about that charging stuff. I don't trust the science on electric vehicles at all. I'm not going to buy one of those. Yahweh bless.